Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on. Speaking of later on, that's when the roundtable shows up. We'll get into all sorts of controversial topics, so we hope you'll stay tuned for that. A lot to cover in this half hour, a lot of great guests and important information, including some personal observations from two leading physicians, their experience with the COVID vaccine. All that and much more coming up. But first, speaking of the COVID vaccine, let's talk about the pandemic for a second and how we're surviving it. Not necessarily health-wise, and maybe some of that too, but in other ways. Two of my good friends are here to help us through this topic. On my immediate right, David Daggett, attorney with Daggett Shuler, and his partner, Griff Shuler, is behind him, socially distanced. Welcome, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks, Jim.
You guys sent me an email and said we want to talk about pandemic principles. We'll get into some specifics in a minute. What do you mean pandemic principles?
Well, Jim, in times of uncertainty, people need to latch on to something. And what you need to do is have some intentionality as to what you latch onto to help you get through these crazy times.
Right.
And we have crazy times right now in all sorts of ways.
In lots of ways.
Yes.
Why even come up with these things?
You know, it's interesting, Jim, how this kind of came about. As you know, I think, at our law firm, every Friday morning from 8:30 to 9:30, we have a team meeting, which includes our attorneys and our staff. And very early on during the pandemic, David started plotting out different ideas of how are we going to get through this as a firm, as a team. And these principles kind of grew out of some presentations that we had. Those team meetings we had to convert to video.
Right.
Before the pandemic, they were in person, but they kind of grew out of that.
Well, I want to pick out, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I want to pick out three of your pandemic principles and get you all to quickly comment on each of the three. The first one that you wrote to me, it says, create structure in times of chaos.
Yeah, so things tend to spin out of control. They get your mind spinning, everything else. Get back into a routine. Routines, simple things, having regular meals with your family, having a team meeting with people at work, even if it's by video, getting into a routine, put some structure back into the crazy times.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think that applies both professionally as well as personally. So,
sure.
You know, I think both sides through all of this, being able to have a structure is very helpful.
The second one is focus on what we can do rather than what we cannot do.
Most people tend to look at, oh, I can't do this now, I can't do that now. What can we do?
I can't go to the gym, I can't go to the movies.
What can we do? Let's take steps now that lay the foundation for the future so that when the pandemic's over, we're in position to launch forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, I think one of the tough things about the pandemic is we're used to being very much in control of our lives. And the problem with this COVID thing is it's taken a lot of control out of our lives. And that's very stressful.
Yeah. The third one I want to mention before we run out of time, pay close attention to your health. Pay close attention to your health.
Yeah, this is a great time when you can't go out to restaurants and you're actually buying your food. Clean up your diet. Throw a daily routine, a walk. I've told people who are working from home now and they don't have their commute, take that commute time, whether it's short or long, and go out for a walk through your neighborhood. Replace that. Keep an eye on your health, because most people, what happens during stressful times is your diet goes down, your exercise goes down. Turn that around and focus on positive health.
It's been so hard for a lot of us. I was used to going to the YMCA to work out just about every day. And so I haven't been back to the Y since this started. So you have to figure out other ways to stay healthy.
We have about a minute left. I want to throw something at you. We have not rehearsed. Both of you are happily married, have great families. You have any quick advice for especially husbands and wives that have been caught with stay-at-home cabin fever and to stay sane through this?
Well, maybe I'm not an expert. I think I am. I've got a great wife. I think the thing is the exact same thing, is Don't just let things spin out of control. Put some structure to your daily activities, meals together, things like that. Focus on what we can do. We can't go out and do this, but we can do this. We can work in our garden, spend more time. So what we can do, and then we collectively have been doing a lot of cooking together.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
Experimenting with different fresh vegetables and healthy foods.
And you and your wife have been playing soccer in the living room, haven't you?
Exactly, with our daughter who's stuck at home from college. So
Hall of Fame soccer
whatever
player.
you can do to kind of lower the stress
Yeah.
is huge on trying to keep the relationship going.
Up on screen, just the general website, which I'd like for you to visit, DaggettShulerLaw.com, or you can call the gentleman, 724-1234, if you ever need their help for anything.
On the website, email us and we'll send you a copy of Pandemic.
Really? So you can get a copy of that?
Absolutely.
Now, hold on, let me see that just a
Yeah,
second.
sure,
So if you go to you can email and you can ask for a copy of this. So we'll get a close-up of it in a minute. All right, thanks guys for doing this. And
Thanks,
you're
Jim.
gonna stay around for the round table?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back.